Oh, hi everyone. I know I was live earlier and I want to apologize. We're trying a new thing. We're trying to restream to go live to YouTube as well as to Facebook. Eventually, we might get the technology aspects down. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. My name is Swanda. I am here today to talk about the next level of spiritual victimization. I'm going to shut the door here so that anybody comes in the center, I won't be interrupted. So I apologize. I should shut the door to begin with. And I'm back. So I'm an ordained minister in metaphysics. Okay, I trained for 8 years at the Universal Church of the Holy Spirit here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I can tell you that this church was started by a physical trance medium. And if you don't know what physical trance medium is, it's somebody who can bring in spirit. That spirit steps into the ectoplasm that they build in their body and emit out. It's a very, very rare, unique talent. Not everybody can do it. There's a few physical trance mediums around the world. I think Nicole Haas is training to be one, if she's not already. And of course, David, and I can't remember his last name, down from New Zealand. But anyway, it's just not a gift that should be taken lightly. So this is where I trained, and I have been a practicing metaphysician for 14 years, or since I was 14, and I've been training and teaching other people 20 plus years, 20, 25 years. I felt, because it's the time of Great Awakening, I felt that it was really, really important that we talk about spiritual victimization. And the reason is because I think sometimes we don't quite understand what we do to ourselves or to each other. So here's where I'm going to interrupt and say, please like and subscribe so you can get notices. We're going to be bringing in on board a lot of fantastic metaphysical teachers here through Resonant Essentials. And you're going to want to get the notice for Rosie, who will be doing readings, and Brother Francis, who will do his wisdom keys. And we have some others that are coming on board. Johanna will be back to do her live weekly forecasts. So anyway, there was a glitch in my second video that I did on spiritual victimization. So I'm going to kind of combine the two. We're going to do second level and third level today. And the reason is because I think it's really an important that I complete what I started in December. The video on December 24th on Christmas Eve did not have audio. Just like when I did the restream video earlier today, it did not have audio. So I apologize. We're going to get this together. I swear. If anything else, you can at least laugh as you go through this with us. I know all these great YouTubers have all these great things happening, and then there's me. But I'm good for a laugh. Okay. So, what I said in the last video is that, why do we try to get people to believe what we believe? Why do we try to get people to think the way we think? Well, oftentimes it's to validate us. So if I'm trying to get you to like Girl Scout cookie Thin Mints, which are like awesome, gluten included, then I'm going to tell you that's the best cookie ever. It's up to you to either accept that or deny it. But let's say I said you had to like that cookie, that if you were gonna, your entire life depended on liking that cookie above all other cookies, then you would be my victim to my belief. You would be a spiritual victim because I'm telling you, I'm not allowing you to bring forth your own experience with the Thin Mint cookie. So the drama we create is there for us to recognize how unreal reality really is. And we create that drama in order to bring forth more of a struggle in life so that we quit bringing in more of a struggle. Okay. For example, when I was young, um, my dad came home for lunch all the time. And I asked her one day, because he hadn't come home, and we're sitting at the table and we're eating lunch. And I said, "Where's Daddy?" It's probably 4 or 5. She said, "He's at work." And I said, "But he's going to be hungry." And she says, "No, he'll eat downtown." And I said, "Why does he have to work so hard?" And she said, "Because if he doesn't, we're going to be in the poorhouse." Now, I could, at that moment in time, visions of this great big white building with no windows, no doors, no anything, no access came through. And to me, it was like this incredible moment of, oh my God, they're going to put us away. So I imagined my sisters and myself all being packed into this building with other people where they were never going to let us out. Because that was in the 60s, and I knew by listening to my parents that they actually had poorhouses where they put people. They were shamed and they were kept there, and it was horrible. Poor people were to be shunned, and they were disgusting. And I thought, we're going to be those people. Nobody's going to like us, and I'm going to lose all my friends, and my world is going to end. And that stayed with me for many years. I was like, I got to work hard or I'm going to be in the poorhouse. And that's what I'm talking about with spiritual victimization. It is something that so casually is said by a parent can impact us. So can you imagine if something that was casually stated can impact us so horrifically that it affects my abundance to this day? Well, no longer. My abundance situation is a little different now, but I still have that memory of that. So evidently there's still some cleaning house that I got to do. So with that being said, if I go through this and I understand this, then it's that moment in time in which we have to shift our consciousness. And the funny thing about it is that we're still doing this. We're doing this to people of color. I said it. I did. We're still oppressing people of color. And if we can keep people poor, then they can be shamed and they can be dismissed as immaterial or invalid or disgusting or whatever horrid word we want to come up with that we put. But the truth of the matter is that nobody is. If you are watching me, then you understand that you have incarnated and you have been black, yellow, brown, red, and white. And you have been many things through many, many lives, and 100,000 years of suppression and fear has been heaped on you. And I'll give you another example. One of my favorite people in life was, I got to watch the story of Helen Keller. And Helen Keller's teacher was Anne Sullivan. Anne Sullivan amazed me. Here was this woman that she used to hold up this little bottle to her eyes and rinse her eyes because she, at the age of 5, had gotten an eye infection that left her nearly blind. Okay. When she was 8, her mother went in and died from tuberculosis. And the father, who was an alcoholic, took off. So they took Anne Sullivan and her brother and they put them in a poorhouse in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Now, this place no longer exists. Somewhere during the Great Depression, they decided to do away with poorhouses because there were so many people poor and in soup lines waiting to be fed, that there is that moment in time that she got out of there. And one of the things that she was known to have said later on is she doesn't know how much of her eternity she's going to have to spend to get rid of the horrific effects that living in a poorhouse had done to her. So, in other words, many lifetimes that she may have had to go through to clear off this fear. And she went on to become this amazing, great teacher, advancing education for the blind. So, as much as we understand today, we also understand that our experiences, her experience in that facility, she escaped, she got out. A lot of people didn't, they died in there. And she came on to greater things. So why are we trying to suppress people of color or suppress the poor or treat them less, like they don't have the right to health care? Or these are the things that invalidate us and tell us that we're not worthy. And this is spiritual victimization. This is the oppression of our spirit, of our metaphysical beingness. This is where we have to take a hold of a whole nother level of awareness. You know, the hardest thing that we go through is coming through that concept of which way do we go? How do we do this? We aren't horrid if we're poor. We're not horrid if we're white. We're not horrid if we're black or brown or red, or we're not horrid people. We're amazing, fantastic, metaphysical beings of light that forgot our truth of who we are. We are amazing. We are magnificent. We are wonderful beings. And all we have to do is get rid of that programming that had kept us suppressed. Now, I will tell you that when we continue allowing this type of oppression and lack of beliefs in our metaphysical beingness, we lose. We'll stay in the third dimension energy. We're going to stay fighting with people about going, what kind of God is there, or who has rights as human beings, and who owns the right to our body, or what medicines we should use, or how to stay healthy by raising our consciousness instead of taking 20 aspirin a day, or telling people that they're not entitled to use pain medication effectively should they fall and break their leg because, oh my God, they might become addicted. Because pill mills did that. They created the fear that we were going to be in pain so that we would keep going back to get out of pain. It's like pain is there for a reason. Pain is there to tell us that something's wrong, but we don't need to have it overrun our mind. It's not very pleasant to go through. Pain is horrible, but it doesn't mean that we don't learn from it. So when we understand that we have to take back our control and not let people suppress us, and we should not let people suppress other people, then we're in control of our promise of abundance in all things. All things. Everything. Because we're a co-creator of our life. We co-create with each other. So if you want to learn what betrayal is, maybe you'll bring in a dog that bites you, or maybe you'll have a spouse that cheats on you, or maybe if you want to relive your childhood abandonment issues, I had that. That's why I'm saying that. Then we would bring in a ton of people who would abandon us, who wouldn't see the great beingness that we are. And that's silly. In my opinion, it's become silly for me to do that to myself. Because, yeah, I don't have to be abandoned anymore. My parents did, I had an agreement with them, and they came in and they fulfilled that agreement. Okay? They, as two alcoholics, taught me the things that I needed to learn so that I could grow spiritually, because that was our agreement. And in turn, as I heal me, I heal the generations above me and the generations below me. So all the work that I do, all the things that I work at trying to create, I can do that with amazing opportunities. I can, I'm trying to get this to go up so I can see the comments on the side. Rosie, thank you for you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for listening. I have to look at two monitors. Getting used to it. So, if we know how to embrace the positive aspects of life, we also know that sometimes we're going to find ourselves on the pity pot of fear because we haven't healed all of our wounds, but we're on our way. It happens to the best of us. Like I had a friend tell me, I'm a high level of consciousness. I'm 5D. And I'm looking at her going, well, if you're 5D, you've got quite the ego on that. And then I started laughing and I was like, wait a minute. That's not ego. What that is reality. Somewhere out there, I'm in 20D. Okay. All I have to do is bring it back in. All I have to do is know that I am already Christ consciousness. I have already raised my levels of awareness, and I have already, because all time is in sync with all time. Everything happens now. So I'm being born in this life right now. And I'm sitting here talking to you right now. Just like I was Neanderthal in another life, and that's happening right now. So all of this nowness allows me to aspect all those things that is doing these awareness things. You're welcome, Rosie. I am so glad you're here and listening. It is a process and it is hard to do, and it's hard for us to keep that focus. But we have to understand that it doesn't matter how elevated we are, when tragedy happens, we can go right back into 3D fear. Oh my goodness, my nose. Sorry. So we have to work at that balance, and we have to go, thank you for the lessons. Thank you for the opportunity. Because I could be really angry at my parents. I know a couple of sisters are, and I don't find fault at that because that's their path. That's the other thing that we have to do is that I agreed to have a dead son. I agreed to be his mom, and he agreed to die. Yuck. And that grief face planted me. Oh my God. And in truth, we're already in another lifetime together. And many people, he told me right shortly after he died that many women and men lose their children, Mom. It's okay. It's okay because you don't really lose them. So my metaphysical beingness knows this, but my fear, my grief, so overwhelmed me that I just couldn't hear it. It was like the veil between the worlds became an iron curtain. So we have to work at being our best beingness. And one of the ways that we do this is by honoring the people who come in to co-create with us. They can be a stranger at Walmart, Kmart, Target, wherever you go. They can be your best friend. They can be your worst enemy. They can be your ex, and they can be your new lover. We draw forth the people for the experiences we need to experience. And we draw forth those things in order to create the scenario in which we learn those lessons. And the minute that I feel like I'm being a victim to them, then I didn't win my lesson. I didn't learn. What I did is stop and become a spiritual victim. I became that person that didn't allow for people to love me enough to create a opportunity for me to learn my lesson. And that's really hard. That's really a concept that we have to work on. And we can't be concerned about what somebody else gets out of the lesson because it's co-creation, head to head. We're co-creating, so we can't worry about what lesson they learned because they're learning something from us. And I'll give you an example of this. When my mother passed away, I was grieving her hard. I mean, my mom and I had gotten very close over the years. Um, yes, I agree. I agree. Bless them. But my mom she was very close, and it took a lot out of me to watch her die and to allow her to die, to be there with her while she died. So I had a scrunchy, ugly face on a lot because I was always choking back tears. And this woman that worked in an office behind the office that I worked in uh, told the woman that she worked in, she's angry. She's so angry, because we were talking about getting shared space together. And I was like, I'm grieving, but I'm not angry. And yes, there is a part of grief that has anger to it, but I was still freshly in the boo-hoos, not in the yeah, because I had resigned myself to my mom's deathing because it took her a year and a half of cancer to pass, so a lot was resolved. So I was really grieving, but she saw it as anger. So she brings me forward to show her that mirror for her. And it was an epiphany for me that she saw that anger in me. And then I had to sit back and go, why am I angry? Well, there was a lot that I had unresolved. And so I wasn't as angry as I was grieving, but that made me angry that she saw that in me. And it's like, okay, but why did I buy into it? Why did I buy into what she saw? Because I was taking it personal. And taking it personal means that we allow people to overrun our boundaries. We allow people to come forward and to not feel the full expression of our kindness and our consideration and our love and our thankfulness for the lesson they brought us. It's more about striking out an ego and saying, you hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings, so I'm not going to ever talk to you again. How many times has that happened in our lives, in my life? I've managed to, come off as a very abrupt woman to a lot of people. And I'm not abrupt. It's kind of like the last message that my son gave me. When I first heard the message before I knew he was going to die, that message sounded really angry to me. And it took me a long time to figure out it wasn't that angry, that he was in that much pain. But I took it personal because having a sick kid is a personal thing. You're mommy, you're supposed to make them better. And it took me a long time to figure out I wasn't going to be able to save that one. I wasn't going to be able to make it all better. So understanding that, I at least understand what the human in me wants, okay, or needs. But having those wants and needs keeps me in 3D, and I don't want to be there. I want to be in the aspect of higher consciousness so I don't take it personal any longer. The metaphysical beingness understands that I'm in perfection and in harmony and am at peace with all of that. Just remember that the lesson I created, I opened the door for somebody to come through to share that lesson with me or to teach me that lesson, okay? So in other words, just because I don't like what I see doesn't mean that they see it the same way. So just because I offend somebody doesn't mean I actually saw that I was offensive. So if I take it personal that they offended me, then who's the fault there? Who's the one that really needs to work on this? It's me. Um, they have their story, they have their perfection, and so do I. And I might never have the same perfection as someone else. And that's okay. Perception, not perfection. Well, I have the same perfection. Oh, how silly. Perfection. Um, Such as my parents abandoning me to basically, I didn't have any parental guidance since I was like 8. And I turned out okay, many years later. But there's a lot of people like me out there. There's a lot of people that have the same issues. How we heal it is always different. So we can bring people in so we both abandon each other. And then we go, oh, see, everybody leaves me. Or we can quit being a victim to it and say, you know what? I'm going to draw forth the right people who are going to be supportive of my spiritual growth. Yay! Yay! But if I choose to grow from it, it's because I choose to grow. And I'll be able to accept whatever perceived situation is may have actually been a spiritual agreement between me and another person. We were talking in Spirit Circle last night about, what is this coming to? It's our medium circle. I have some of the most beautiful beings in circle with me, and we sit on Thursday nights, and it's that very dear observation of what next. So we have to ask our spirit team, what next? We have to ask our higher selves, what next? We have to say, I'm opening the door to greatness. I am opening the door to some fantastic things happening. And I'm raising my consciousness and my vibration, and I'm going to accept it. And I'm going to embrace it because I don't want any more hard lessons in my woundedness. I want to grow through peace, light, love, harmony, and prosperity, not through abandonment, not through pain and suffering, not through drama. So understanding that if I'm in agreement with somebody, there's nothing for me to forgive for them. And what taught me this was this really, really good book. It's called Radical Forgiveness. I'm trying to look to see. The book is Radical Forgiveness, Making Room for the Miracle by Colin Tipping. Amazing book. It showed me where I bought into the game. And the game is 3D. And I don't want to be 3D anymore. I want to be 4D. So I don't have to be that 3D drama and deal with that anymore. So I would have missed out on so much in my life if I had bought in, if I didn't have the parents that I had, if I didn't have the friends that I had. I would have missed out on being the great metaphysical instructor that I am now, because I would have missed something in the translation. I would have been still stuck on blaming everybody else for where I find myself and how they're talking mean to me or they're not paying my bills, and nobody needs to pay my bills. I can pay my own bills. So this book gives us an instantaneous path to understanding the beauty of co-creating pertaining to our life drama that we create with others to learn our spiritual lessons. So understand that all of these situations that you got going on, thank them. Thank everybody. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. Doesn't mean that you stay and get all treated badly. You raise your vibration. You put that white light around you. You push that light out and you beam it and you own it and you let your metaphysical beingness shine, because you are a fantastic, beautiful, spiritual being of light and love. And I believe in you. I truly do. And this is how I teach people to get to where they need to be. So please, if you will, like and subscribe. You're going to get a whole bunch of amazing teachers and a bunch of wisdom coming through. Like I said, we've got some people. In fact, Rosie's going to be one of our readers. She's going to come on and do small mini readings so you can kind of, find out where your week is going to go or your year or whatever. Ask a couple of questions. She's there to help guide you. We're here. You can find us on resonantessentials.com. You can make appointments with us if you need spiritual guidance, if you need a reading or a healing. If you're here in Albuquerque, I offer you to walk in. We have specials, introductory offers for walk-ins if they want to walk in and get a session for a reading or a healing. We have some great events coming up. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on LinkedIn, on Meetup. You can find us on Facebook, the group. It's called Resonant Essentials, the group. And you can find out about our events on Resonant Essentials events. And you can go to our website and find out the same information. Please join us here on YouTube. We greatly appreciate you. My heart to all of yours. I love everyone from the bottom of my very heart. Don't forget that we are here for you, and we want to be a part of your world as we hope you're a part of ours. Peace, light, love, and harmony. Much abundance in all things. Bye for now.